What is up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday night. Hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I am Luda Carson of Luda Carson Plays, the channel that you are on. And I want to welcome you to a Sunday night stream, baby. Weekend is winding down, and we are getting ready for the work week. And if you're watching this on the replay, thanks for that. Hope you like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for joining on the replay, and I hope whatever day it is that you happen to be consuming this entertainment, that you're having a good one. Anyway, so my plan was last night to go live after UFC Fight Night. Blakovich versus, I'm gonna say his name wrong all night. I'm terrible with names. If you've watched any of my content, you know this. That I am just bad at names. It's not something I'm good, but it was Blachowicz versus Rakic. Such a moron, man. Rakic. Whatever. Anyways, the dude lost. So my plan was to go live after that, but when I realized, I don't even know what time I realized it. I realized there were 6 fights on the main card, and we were getting rolling at like 10, and the first fight didn't start until like 10:10 or 10:20. I just thought, shit, man, there is no way this pay-per-view is going to, or this fight night is going to be done by 1 a.m. And that's like my cutoff, man, is 1 a.m. because if it goes too long, like I don't want to be staying up until 3, 4, 5 in the morning doing a live, especially on a fight night. Like if it were a big pay-per-view, maybe you could convince me to go that long. But on a fight night, I don't know, man. I don't have it in me to go that long. So I decided, let's do this today. Plus, there are other things I want to talk about besides just the fight night. I know this is called the Fight Night post show, but there's a couple of articles that I want to hit on because I just think it's kind of funny and it ties into UFC 274, which we covered on the channel last week. And for the replay, I will throw a card. Let me take a note of when I'm saying this because I'm always so terrible at throwing these cards at the right spot. But at 259. All right, so 259. Actually, let's just do 259. All right, 259. So if you rewind a little bit, there's going to be a card for UFC 274. You can check out the review on that. But we covered that. There's a couple articles that came out about some of the aftermath of that Rose Namajunas Carla Esparza fight. And if you watch the video, you know that I think that is one of the worst fights in UFC history. I think it was so underwhelming. I do not think it was it wasn't even palatable. It was 25 minutes of my life I'll never get back. And it was 2 competitors that you really expect a lot more out of, especially since their first fight was actually pretty good. I would just go back and watch that one instead of the garbage we got last Sunday night. So there's just some interesting articles that came out of that. We're going to talk about that tonight. And then we're going to cover UFC 274 Blakovich versus Rakic. We'll laugh at me trying to say the name all night. There's another name too I want to talk about when we talk about the event. So anyways, how you guys doing tonight, man? We'll check in on you guys and girls. Actually, girls. That's the weirdest thing about my channel is that when I look at the analytics, the majority of people who are watching this video are women. So hello, ladies. Thank you for watching. It's always kind of funny because when we start, as I take a sip of my coffee, I'm drinking coffee at 9:03 p.m. because I'm a maniac. But when I start this, I always sit in the studio at first because I like to get everything in order and make sure I got all my web pages pulled up and all that good stuff. And I always look at myself on the camera. StreamYard will stream this in 720p, and you have to pay for like the super professional in order to do 1080p. And man, I just don't have the followers for that yet. Maybe if we get ourselves up to like 1,000 subs, maybe if this channel gets monetized, I'll bump up to the professional level. But I ain't going to do that. My internet ain't good. Anyways, I live in the middle of a cornfield. I got that satellite internet. It is not very good. I don't even think I could stream 1080p if I wanted to. But before I start streaming, I always get to see myself in 1080p. And I always notice all these imperfections on myself before I get started. So I'll be like, damn, my beard looks like shit. Look at this 5 o'clock shadow I got going on. Or what are these freckles on my nose? I notice all this shit. I always think my face looks real round too. I promise I'm not this round in person. It's just kind of a weird thing that the camera does. So it's just kind of funny, when you look at the analytics, you got the ladies watching and I look like shit. So there you go, ladies. You got the worst part of me, the worst version of me on your screen right now. But anyways, another just funny thing about the weekend. I'm dieting. I'm on a low carb keto. I guess you can call it keto. You can call it carnivore. Really, I'm not full carnivore. Like I'm carnivore-ish, meaning I eat some things that aren't meat. Mostly meat though. Most of my diet is an animal-based diet, but I can't give up coffee. And there's a few other things I like too. So, we try to eat good. We try to eat healthy, and then the weekend comes and ice cream comes a calling, and I blew the diet today, man. I had a big ass Oreo cupfection from Dairy Queen today. That shit was so good, but man, you could instantly, as soon as I ate it, I felt my blood sugar just spike right up to this. I mean, I could feel it. Like we're about to go grocery shopping, and I'm feeling the blood, my heart rate and the sugar just go into me, and I'm feeling like Hogan tearing that shirt off before I go to the grocery store, knowing that on the way home it's nap time, as I crash. So it's just interesting how you can feel that shit when your nutrition is not on point and you're used to your nutrition being on point. Any deviation from that on point, you're going to feel that shit. And I did, man. I felt it during my workout. I felt it right after my blood sugar was spiking. I felt that shit, man. So that's just a funny thing about my weekend. Got a rough week ahead of me, so we'll see if I make it. I'm probably going to stream just to give you guys a heads up too on the channel. I know we're 7 minutes in. And I haven't even talked about the damn UFC Fight Night. But we'll get there. We'll get there. We're just chilling tonight on a Sunday. So I'm probably going to do 2 videos this week. We got the Misremembering podcast, me and the old Billy Boy coming up. That's usually posted on Tuesdays. He posted on Monday. So he posted on Tuesday too, but he posted a few hours before me. So if you want to go subscribe to Bilbo, that's the channel. Bilby, not Bilbo. It should be Bilbo. It's Bilby at Bilby on YouTube. You can get it a little early, and then you come to my channel, you get it a couple hours later. But we always do Misremembering, and then I'm also going to do another video, and I'm not sure yet what that video is going to be on. I have some ideas bouncing around in my head, and I just got to land on the right one. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see where that is as I sip my coffee. But we'll see that what it is. And next weekend, I think there's another fight night, so we'll probably do another fight night reaction, and then I'm fitting to want to do a either a retro review or a top 10, and I don't know which one, so we might do that next weekend live. We might do a live stream where we cover that. Maybe we'll go Saturday and Sunday next week, or this coming week, next weekend, this whatever you want to call it, this next weekend coming up. So join us for that. Join us for that if you're into that sort of thing. But let me share this story, because this story triggered the shit out of me, man. I did. And I'm going to tell you why. Let's get StreamYard all set up. Yes, I'd like to share my screen. Look how bright I get when I want to share my screen. All right, I want window, because I might want to do actually Chrome window. Let's just do window. I ain't going to be sharing audio. All right, let's share it. All right, so I saw this story on MMA Fighting. And I don't look. I'm not a sensitive guy, okay? I don't get triggered very much. But this story triggered me. It got me pissed off because look. All right. Here's the headline. This is MMAfighting.com, and the story was written by MMA Fighting Newswire, so I don't even know what that means. The author doesn't want to be credited for the story. But Rose Namajunas, this is a quote. "I got what I wanted out of Carla Esparza rematch at UFC 274. Now, marinate on this for a second, this headline. We're going to read the article because we're going to check this headline. But I want you to marinate on this headline and tell me how stupid this sounds. Rose Namajunas, who lost her championship at UFC 274 in an embarrassing fashion. Okay? It wasn't a good fashion. It wasn't oh man, she put everything she had into that fight. She just got her ass beat. It wasn't even that. Okay? This was a lackadaisical, just lazy ass effort from Rose Namajunas at UFC 274, and I am a Rose Namajunas fan. Okay? I don't hate Rose Namajunas. I don't hate Carla Esparza. I like both of them. But that fight was dog shit, and anybody who watched that fight knows that. But look at this headline. Just let this headline sink in for a second. I got what I wanted out of Carla Esparza. Oh, did you? Did you? What'd you want? Because you don't got your title, so you didn't want that. But we're gonna talk about it. Let's read the story first, okay? Look at this. Rose Namajunas may not have defeated Carla Esparza at UFC 274. Well, we know that shit. But she isn't altogether disappointed with her performance. She isn't altogether disappointed with that performance. She did lose a split decision, but look at this. Look at this right here. One of the worst UFC title bouts in recent memory. But don't worry, guys, because she ain't disappointed. It doesn't matter if it was one of the worst fights I've ever seen, if not the worst fight I've ever seen. It doesn't matter if it was one of the worst fights you've ever seen. That doesn't matter, guys. Doesn't matter at all. Because Rose Namajunas, she got what she wanted out of that fight. She's not, look, she isn't altogether disappointed with the worst fight in UFC history. Nah, she's all right. Here's a quote. Just in a general sense, I'll say it just basically had to do with, I have my 3 goals, Namajunas said on Wednesday on the MMA Hour. So this was a friggin' Ariel Helwani. My base level goal is to come out unscathed, like happy, healthy, and safe. Okay. All right, you don't want to get your shit broken. I get that. Nobody wants that. And then number 2 was obviously win the fights. That was number 2. And then ultimately number 3 was not only win, but dominate and set myself apart from the rest of the division. All right, hold on. Time out. Let's just time out. Let's take a timeout. Let's go back up. I want to go back up to the headline. I got what I wanted out of the Carla Esparza rematch at UFC 274. And then she talks down here about what she wants. Well, let's see how many of these things she got. Well, she definitely came out of the fight unscathed because that fight sucked ass. That was a terrible. I don't even think either of the girls got hurt in that fight. They were basically dancing around the octagon together. The only reason Carla Esparza won the fight was because she danced a little better than Rose Namajunas. Well, look at number 2. Win the fight. You didn't do that. You didn't win the fight. You didn't even fight. You danced. And you didn't even win the dance. And then ultimately was not only win, but dominate and say, oh, you set yourself apart from the rest of the division. So I guess if that's what you wanted, you got that. Because you set yourself apart as somebody who, quite frankly, sometimes in these title fights doesn't give her all. You set yourself apart as somebody who, quite frankly, didn't even want the belt you had because you gave it away to Carla Esparza. Now, a lot of that isn't her fault because her corner was telling her, oh, yeah, you got the fight. You got it, girl. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. She wasn't doing shit. What was she doing? Dancing. She was dancing. And to be honest with you, that shit was worse than I've seen better fights in WWE. And that shit is choreographed. I got what I wanted. That just pisses me off, man. It just pisses me off because if you're a champion, this is not fake. This is UFC, okay? You train your ass off to get into that octagon. Those training camps are brutal. You cut weight. You starve yourself and sweat to get into that octagon. And then when you're in there defending your championship that you fought hard to win, you just take the night off and dance. But you got what you wanted. So that shit pisses me off, man. Now look, she says down here, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm safe. That's all I want. Yada, yada, yada. I got base level everything that I wanted. Bro, and she even admits it. Look, this sounds crazy to people. And it does sound crazy to people. You know why it sounds crazy to people, Rose? Because what you should want in a title fight is to defend your title. That's what you should want. You fought hard to get that belt. You didn't get everything that you wanted. You know, it's funny because after UFC 274, I was like, man, I cannot wait to hear from Rose Namajunas about how she thought that fight went. I cannot wait to hear how because I wanted to hear her explain what her strategy was in that fight. Like when you came into that fight, what were you thinking? And then as you're going through that fight, how can you possibly think, oh yeah, shit, I got this. I got this, baby. Seriously, go watch highlights of the fight. Just bore yourself for 5 minutes. Take a little nap. You get a little 5-minute nap. It'll be a good time for you. Because a 5-minute nap is going to be more exciting. Whatever you dream about in that 5 minutes, that's more exciting than this fight was. I got what I wanted. You lost your title. Is that what you wanted? You just didn't want that shit anymore? Throw that in the garbage? Throw that in the garbage. That's the quote. Rose Namajunas. Throw that in the garbage. Meanwhile, Carla Esparza, check this shit out. Hey, that's your opponent right there, Rose. She got married wearing your belt. Is this what you wanted? Maybe that's what this was. Maybe what Rose Namajunas wanted was she wanted to get Carla Esparza a nice little wedding gift. And she's like, well, what can I give Carla Esparza for her wedding? I got an idea. I'm going to just go in there and I'm going to dance around and I'm going to let Carla connect a couple times and take me down. And that's it. And then she's going to get my belt. She can wear it on her wedding day. Well, there you go, Rose. Hope you're at home watching this. Is this what you wanted? Carla Esparza getting married. Congratulations to Carla Esparza, by the way, who I don't knock at all. Because Carla Esparza wants that gold. And she's going to do whatever it takes to get that gold. And she knew when she got those takedowns, I got this fight. I'm honestly surprised it was a split decision. The more I think about it. There you go. Congratulations, Carla Esparza, UFC strawweight champion and now married to a doctor. So she's doing all right. She's doing all right. As my notes close themselves. Please don't make me time. Okay. But I say, please don't make me time my password. I took a lot of notes last night, y'all. But anyways, I just want to talk about that because this article, when I saw it, really triggered me. I got really upset about this. Rose, look, I like you, Rose Namajunas. You're one of my favorite fighters. You really are. And that's why I was so disappointed in your performance against Carla Esparza. Seriously. Because you are. Like, you're a true badass. All right? You beat some of the best in the world. But this shit here, this is not acceptable. You can't be in this mindset. You know what I mean? And your corner should have told you this. They should have told you this. Like, in the fight, if I cared about you, I would have told your ass, hey, you're losing this fight. You don't have this. But they didn't. They didn't. All right, we're going to pull up the results for UFC Fight Night last night. I'm going to tell you what, UFC Fight Night last night, that was a good show, man. For being a total B show, and it was a total B show, man. They did this from the UFC Apex, which is that small stadium I think they own. It's like I don't know if it's part of like their training facility and all that, but anyways, they have this little stadium in Las Vegas that they own, the UFC owns, and that's where this card took place from the Apex. And it was total B team show, man. They had the B team commentators, they had the B team, and like the only person who was A team who was there was Bruce Buffer. That's it. Everybody else was the B team people. They didn't have Megan O'Leary, they didn't have Rogan, they didn't have Anik, they didn't have Cormier. They had all the B team. They had Michael Bisping, Daniel Cormier, and some other dude whose name escapes me right now, doing commentary for the show. So I didn't watch the undercard. Full disclosure, I did not watch the undercard at all. Mostly because it was a 6-fight main card, and that was enough for me. And I got a life, man. I got things I got to do. I can't be watching UFC for 48 hours on a Saturday, bro. Can't be watching UFC for 48 hours on a Saturday, bro. We got a life. So here we go. Let's kick it off by talking about Jake Hadley versus Alan Nacimento. Now, I want to talk about this because leading up to this fight, all of the hype was around Jake Hadley. And why was the hype around Jake Hadley? Because Jake Hadley was one of these dudes who fought on Dana White's Contender Series. So they were pumping this dude up, and I'm pretty sure they threw him Nacimento because they thought that he would beat Nacimento. Because a lot of times what they do is, they got this Contender Series. This is Dana White's Contender Series show. And they want to hype these guys up. So what they do is they throw journeymen, like UFC dudes, at these guys, hoping that these guys will prove themselves a little bit and will win these fights. So this was a total like, hey, Jake Hadley, we got all this build up around you. We're throwing you in this fight. And that is not what happened in this fight. Okay. Not at all. First round was basically Nacimento taking Hadley down to the ground and just dominating him there, just holding him on the ground. In all honesty, you could argue to me that first round of this fight was a 10-8. I saw a lot of, because they show like tweets, like anytime celebrities or anybody tweets, they show it up on the screen. Everybody's like 10-9, 10-9. I'm like, bro, if any round is a 10-8, maybe this round was, because Nacimento just dominated Hadley in that first round. The second round was more of the same. You had more of the same in the second round. The third round comes around. Hadley does a little better in the third round, but there was no way Nacimento wasn't winning this fight. And sure enough, he did via unanimous decision. All three of the judges scored the bout for Nacimento. And look, this brought up a thought in my mind was they spent a lot of time. I mentioned it before this fight, building up Hadley. And they do this a lot with these Contender Series guys. And we just got to have a little bit of a conversation about these Contender Series guys. Because the UFC is churning talent out of this Contender Series show. But a lot of these guys, they get up to the UFC, they get thrown some meat, and they can't chew the meat. They get beat. Now, that doesn't always happen. And there's some other Contender Series guys on this show that are pretty solid. But it happens more often than it should, okay? And if you're really trying to build stars out of this Contender Series, you should do a better job of picking opponents for these dudes. Like if Hadley really was a guy that you wanted to build up, don't put him in there with a dude that you look pretty good. I mean, look solid. There are worse guys you could have put Jake Hadley in the octagon with if you wanted Jake Hadley to look really good. I don't know. That's just a thought that I had. Nacimento dominated this fight. I mean, Hadley really didn't look good at all. Okay. And for all the hype he got before, I don't know, man. I wasn't impressed. Lots of grappling in this fight. So if you're into that sort of thing, this was a good fight for you. If you're not, you were probably bored to shit. And I don't blame you. I really don't. Prelims. I hate how they do this. They put the first fight on the bottom. Put the first fight on the top. All right. Manuel Torres taking on Frank Camacho in the lightweight division. And this was another dude. This was another effing Contender Series guy, man. So right after I saw this fight between Hadley and Nacimento, we go right into another fight with another one of these Dana White's Contender Series guys. And I'm just thinking, shit, man. Another one of these Contender Series guys. And Frank Camacho is no slouch. Like, I'm thinking Camacho might beat this dude. He might. This also was the point when I realized, because I think we were like, I don't even know what time it was that this second fight started, but I'm like 6 fights on this card. I'm not streaming on Saturday night. This fight was the moment that I realized I'm not doing this. I got to wait until Sunday. So this fight, though, was a lot more exciting than the previous fight. This fight was pretty solid. Even the UFC mentions both fighters getting down to business. And they were getting down to business. Okay, these guys were throwing hands at each other early in the fight. Camacho did go for a couple takedowns. But he didn't have the follow through to get the takedown. So he'd go for the takedown, but he wasn't really like putting everything he had into it. And you got to shoot for those takedowns. You got to follow through. And he had to shoot. He didn't have the follow through. Okay. So he just didn't land either of those takedowns. What I did notice was that at some point in the fight, you could see Camacho was starting to feel the punches. Like he was starting to slow down a little bit. He was showing some wear and tear there. He was feeling those punches. Torres hits a right and a left, and it stopped Camacho right there. And you can see it down here. UFC calls it. He landed a right uppercut and then a left-right combo that dropped. And that uppercut, by the way, I didn't mention it in my notes, but that uppercut landed clean. It was a solid uppercut. It rocked him. That uppercut was the setup. So once he hit that uppercut, right, Camacho was toast really at that point. Like, I think that uppercut really hurt him. And then when he hit that left, right, they were both clean, and that just stopped Camacho right there. Herb Dean just called it instantly as soon as he was down. So 3 minutes, 27 seconds in the opening round. Manuel Torres, TKOs, Frank Camacho. So this was definitely a more impressive performance from one of these Contender Series guys. So it's funny because when I was typing my notes, I typed all this stuff about how, man, these Contender Series guys, they disappoint me. And I'm just not into it. And then then this fight happened, and I'm like, well, shit, okay. Thanks, Manuel Torres, for making me look like a doofus, because this was an impressive performance on this one by a Contender Series guy. And Hey, Ryan Spann later too, I believe is another Contender Series guy, and he was solid as well. So I eat my words a little bit as I take a sip of this coffee. I'm gonna eat my words, and then I'm gonna wash them down with some coffee at 9:25 p.m. Eastern time. Anyways, this was a good fight. This was a good win for Torres. This was a really good win for Torres because not only was this a win, from a Contender Series, guys, but this was an impressive knockout too. So I think Torres, I want to see him fight better competition. But what I'm most interested in is what if he fights a guy who, because listen, Camacho could have taken him down. This fight would have been completely different, maybe. So what's Torres going to do when he faces someone who has that follow through and is better at taking him down? Is he just going to get taken down? And then how would have this fight went had he been taken to the ground? I don't know. We'll never know. But it's just something to keep in mind that he could have been taken down. He was vulnerable to that, to those takedowns. So, that's just something to keep in mind for the future for him. But this was a good win for him. It was pretty impressive. Contender Series guys overall probably still suck a little bit, though. All right, this is the decision that I actually disagree with. So Caitlin Chikagian fought Amanda. It's Hebas. Hebas. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've seen Amanda Hebas fight before. And I think this is a little bit of a Mandela effect because I swear to you that I thought it was Rebus. I thought it was Amanda Rebus. And maybe that makes me a racist. I don't know, but that's what I thought it was. And I swear I've heard people say it that way. So when I heard everybody tonight saying, Hebas, 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 I was a little like, oh, shit. Okay. I don't know, man. Weird shit. That's what I got to say. That's weird. But anyways, this fight. So I ultimately the decision of this fight I disagree with. This was a good fight. This was a really good fight. So the storyline coming in is that Caitlin Chikagian is the number one flyweight contender, and really, in all honesty, the women's flyweight division is what it is. Okay, and I don't think it's a very strong division, and I think that's why Valentina Shevchenko dominates that division. And Chikagian is really like just because we need somebody to put up there. And so, Chikagian was coming into this fight and Hebas is fighting up. So normally she fights at 115. So this was like fighting up for her at a higher weight class. So that was the story coming in, was like, how is Hebas really going to do? I think Chikagian was a huge favorite coming into this fight. And that's it. And another thing to note prior to the fight was Chikagian is popping a 2-inch edge in reach. So the story of the fight. Whenever somebody has a huge reach advantage like that, the story of the fight that you're going to see is that Hebas needs to close the gap. She needs to close the gap. And so I figured that's what we're going to see a lot of. And that is what we saw a lot of in this fight. So again, this was a split decision. I don't like this decision. I think this was wrong, this decision. But let's just recap the fight a little bit, okay? So Hebas took Chikagian down in the first with a head and arm throw. That was pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. I thought that Hebas had won that round because of that takedown. So I think that was like, okay, she's winning round one because that takedown was good. I did think it was evident at this point already early in the fight that Chikagian is the better fighter on her feet. I think that was very obvious. I mean, you could tell, right? Hebas kept putting her hands down. She wasn't like guarding very well, and she was taking shots because of it. Now, none of these shots stopped her, but Chikagian was definitely connecting. Here you go, round two. Hebas again lands another takedown. But Chikagian was catching her while standing. So while I say I disagree with this decision, I could see how the judges, I can definitely see how the judges would think, okay, she's catching her standing. That work that she did standing amounts to more than what Hebas did to the ground with the takedown. So we give that round to Chikagian. I would have given that round. I think I gave it to Hebas, but the story there was Hebus was getting too confident, right? She was getting too confident because she landed those takedowns and she was coming in and she wasn't guarding and she was catching shots because of it. She was catching them hands. So, that is what it is. But again, I even put in my notes that this round could have went either way. Round 3, you had more of the same, right? Chikagian winning in the striking battle, but boom, Hebus hit another takedown. And I just thought with those takedowns, Hebus was certainly working better on her feet. She wasn't doing enough damage, I think, to really overcome those takedowns. So ultimately, Chikagian wins. Do you give her a title shot? I don't even know. It was an impressive performance by Hebus either way, coming up in weight and being able to keep the fight as close as it was. That was impressive. That was impressive. So this fight again could have gone either way. I'm gonna look at the scorecards here in a second. I want to pull those up and just take a look how the judges kind of landed there. I thought it was Hebus because Hebus hit those takedowns, but let's take a look at how the judges scored this fight. I don't have it pulled up. Let's go to. All right, here's the official scorecards for the fight. And I know it looks a little blurry because I have to stream in 720p on StreamYard. But if you look here, yeah, the difference is Sal D'Amato and this name, Junichiro Kamaji, whatever. Anyways, they gave both 2 and 3 to Chikagian. Hebus won round 1 clean. Like I said, that takedown was enough to win around round 1. Round 2 was really, in my opinion, round 2 and 3 were the 2 rounds that could go either way. And I think it's kind of interesting. Actually, if you look at it, the difference was round 3. So Derek Cleary gave round 3 to Hebus, while D'Amato and what is that? Whatever. And the other guy gave round 3 to Chikagian. So round 3 was the difference. And I really thought round 2 was the difference maker. I didn't think it was round 3. I thought Hebus won round 3 with that last takedown. But again, a fight that could have gone either way. So regardless of what rounds they gave to who, this was a split decision, and I really think Hebus probably, I don't know, in my opinion, she deserved it, but it is what it is. It's not like it's an egregious decision either way. Like, giving it to Chikagian is what it is. It doesn't matter. Either one of those fighters is going to lose to Valentina, so it doesn't matter. Valentina's badass. All right, we get to the next fight. Davey Grant versus Luis Smoka. This is in the bantamweight division, and this was fight of the night. I think, by far. I think this was a fantastic fight. Go out of your way to watch this fight. If you go out of your way to watch any fight, I would say this is the one. Grant has some pretty solid striking. And credit to Smoka's chin because he took a beating in the first round. Smoka landed a knee that was pretty nice in the first round, but ultimately this first round belonged to Grant. He landed tons of solid, just hard shots. I mean, you could hear them landing over the mic, over the audio, and they sounded like they hurt. But Smoka was still standing, and that was impressive. That's an impressive chin right there. Because you could definitely tell Grant was putting power into those punches. These were not weak-ass punches Grant was throwing. These were not soft baby hands. He was throwing some hard wood, and Smoka was taking it. He did not. Now, Smoka did go down at one point after a jab from Grant, but he got right back up. He was landing some hard body shots with the kicks, too, that Smoka was all red around his midsection, and you could tell, man, those kicks were hard. Now round 2 was a different story, though. So we come into round 2, and Smoka started landing a lot more shots, and I don't really know why. So this is like the tides turned in round 2. So Grant was dominating, and then round 2, Smoka started to dominate a little bit, and it almost looked as if Grant was getting a little frustrated because his shots that he was landing, and they sounded like they hurt, but Smoka was just not going down. So you could see that Grant was getting a little frustrated, maybe even a little tired in round 2, and Smoka was taking advantage of it, landing shots, looking really, really good. Grant missed a kick at one point, then it allowed Smoka to get on top of Grant on the ground, and there was a bit of an exchange on the ground back and forth, but they got it pretty quick. Anyways, I think Smoka took round 2, in my opinion. So you had Grant round 1, Smoka round 2, which means this is one of those fights that could go either way, and it was a solid fight. I mean, these two were putting in a heck of a performance. Round 3, Grant lands a solid calf kick that originally I thought ended the fight, but it wasn't the calf kick. Actually, no, it was. I'm thinking of the knee later in the night. It was. So Grant hit him with a solid calf kick, and he'd been working that calf with those kicks. Like I said earlier, he was landing some pretty solid kicks, and this was enough for Smoka. Like Smoka couldn't take it anymore. He drops down. That calf kick, he can't stand anymore. And the good call by Dominic Cruz, because prior to Grant hitting that calf kick, Dominic called this out. Dominic was like, "You got to go for the calf, man. It's hurting. You got to go for the calf." And then sure enough, Grant does, and Smoka's down, and then Grant's able to get on top, land some hammer fists, and lights out. Grant wins by knockout, and this was fight of the night. This was fight of the night for sure. Just a really good fight, in my opinion. I guess I should say, in my opinion, this was fight of the night. That was 49 seconds in the final round that the fight was stopped, by the way, and it was a knockout. It was a knockout for sure. All right, co-main event of the evening. Here it is. You've got Ryan Spann taking on Ion Kutalaba. It's a light heavyweight title fight. Or not light heavyweight title. It's in the light heavyweight division, though. I will talk about title in a minute. And the fight starts. Ion takes him down. And then he takes him down again. This was not a long fight. Takes him down, then he takes him down again. Spann powers back up, but then gets taken down again as he rushes in. So that's like 3 takedowns early in the fight. And Spann then's able to kick himself up. It's just a lot of power in those legs, by the way. He's able to just push Kutalaba off of him with his legs. Just a lot of power in those legs. But then Ion makes a mistake and rushes in with a punch, but misses. Spann grabs him with a guillotine. Tap out, baby. Submission. So he gets him in that guillotine, and he has to tap. 222 in round 1. Spann looked pretty good. He really did. That guillotine was on. It was tight. It was a solid guillotine. I don't know. Maybe Spann, he's number 13 right now. He's 20-7. I think he should move up a little bit. I'd like to see him fight a couple of solid guys and then see what he's got. He does seem to be on a bit of a tear lately, and he did look good. So I'm curious to see what he's got, and I'd like to see him fight some stiffer competition in the division just to see what we get. I mean, I don't think anybody expected this fight to go the distance, and it did not go the distance. So what we got was real fast paced, but nothing to really talk about there. And then you get the main event, baby. Main event time. Jan Blachowicz. I always say names so bad. Versus Alexander Rakic. And this ended at a TKO, man. This was such an unfortunate finish to this fight. Because what we saw in this fight, what little we got of this fight was good. It was solid. This could have ended up being fight of the night if it went the distance. What's interesting was Blachowicz was the underdog here. He's also the former champ. So I thought that was interesting that he was the underdog. The fight started out with both fighters working the calf early, and that's going to be paramount to how the fight ends. But both of these guys were just kicking calves. Blakovich got cut early in the fight. I think it was a jab that landed that cut Blachowicz. And this cut was really bothering him throughout the first round because the blood was getting in his eye. And where the cut was, it was like right here on the eye. And it was kind of nasty looking. And the blood was getting in his eye and kind of bothering him in the fight. Blachowicz he caught Rakic with, and this seems to slow him down. So he caught him with a good shot, and it slowed Rakic down. So Rakic was really pressing the fight at first. And he got slowed down because he caught something, caught a punch from Blachowicz, just slowed him down. Blachowicz locked in a triangle, but Rakic was able to get out. I took some notes that are like super hard to read here. Round 2 was basically, I think Blachowicz got taken down, and he was kind of held down at the end of round 2. But the fight was stopped in round 3 because what happened was Blachowicz lands a calf kick. Then Rakic kind of backs up, but he takes an awkward step and just completely blows his knee out. I mean, it was really nasty looking. And that they stopped the fight immediately. I mean, he was hurt. He could not go. He could not continue. At first, I thought it was the calf kick that stopped the fight. But it was not the calf kick. It was just the awkward step that he took moving back that blew his knee out. And when you watch the replay and you're focused on it, you can see it more. And it is kind of nasty looking. But it was such an unfortunate end to the fight because this fight was really looking good. This was looking like a solid fight that could have gone either way. So it's always unfortunate when an injury stops a fight like this because you still don't know who the better man was. Blachowicz, though, ends up winning because of that. And if Glover Teixeira is able to win, big if, at the pay-per-view coming up, then they're going to run that back, I'm sure. It's going to be Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira again. And I think you'll probably get if I could guess, you're going to get a different result out of the second fight. So, all in all, though, the show as a whole was pretty good, pretty entertaining, pretty solid. I think it was way more entertaining than UFC 274, which I paid $75 for. So if I'm paying $75, like this free fight night was way more entertaining than that. If you have ESPN2, you were able to watch this. And it was a solid show. So I think at the same time this was happening, there was some sort of like content creator fight on pay-per-view or somewhere where you had a bunch of like YouTube and Twitch people boxing, and apparently it was just dog shit goofy. And everybody was like commenting about how great it was. And I'm like, bro, if you like that, come watch this, man. Come watch real fighters who train, who sweat, who bleed. Watch them fight. Don't be watching some goof ass on YouTube try and get into a ring, some overweight goofy trying to box. Okay? Don't waste your time. Why would you waste your time? Watch the pros do it. You're going to enjoy it a lot more. If you got a taste out of watching that and you're like, man, I like watching people fight, then watch the pros do it. Don't be wasting your time watching content creators from YouTube box each other. It's just spend your money, by the way. Don't waste your money watching a bunch of losers fight. It's just pointless. But anyways, overall, good show last night on ESPN2. Worth a watch. Particularly, I would say go back and check out, not the co-main, this Davey Grant Lewis Smoka fight, because this was a solid fight. So if you're going to go back and check out anything, I would check that out. So those are my thoughts on UFC Fight Night. Please comment in the comments section what your thoughts were. What did you think was fight of the night? Did you watch the goofy content creator fight? Because I'm curious. And if you're watching this on the replay, once again, please give me a like, share, subscribe. Do all of those things. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to call it, I think. But remember, we got Misremembering coming up on Tuesday. And we got some other stuff coming up throughout the week. So stay tuned next week. Once again, we're running it back, another UFC Fight Night post show. And then we're also going to do a little something else next weekend, I think. Either way, I really appreciate you guys watching. Again, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. We're up to 82 subscribers right now on the channel, which is just phenomenal. So I want to thank you very much if you've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, please take the time to do so. It really does help the channel out. It really, really does. Trust me, because it means, you know, we're doing something serious and you guys approve of it. You want to see more of it. And that always lets me know, lets me know to keep going. So thank you for that. Also, like this video because I'm trying to decide if you guys want to see MMA content, if you want to see UFC stuff. If you do, like the video because that also lets me know, like, hey, you guys are kind of digging the UFC content, so we're going to make some more of that. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Enjoy your week. I hope you guys have a really good one. Guys and gals, have a really good week. I will see you guys next time.